videos, but also I run a lot of the live streams and make sure all that stuff is put together. Run all of our equipment and things like that, and I do a bunch of random stuff around here at the Dice Tower, and there's a lot of other editing that goes on as well. Like Z does his own reviews, and Chris edits a ton of stuff, and Mike edits a ton of stuff, and they run some live things here and there and all that different stuff too. But we're a big team here, and we're making things happen. But yeah, oh, Mike's in the chat too. What? But yeah, I guess we'll see if some questions come in. I will try to answer some of those. But yeah, I guess we will just start off with banning Timon. I mean, adding Timon's thing to the broadcast. Oh, it's tiny. Let me make that bigger. Timon asks, Roy, what is your favorite type of game? I think I normally get pigeonholed as like the Ameritrash player. I wouldn't consider myself as Ameritrash. The games I really enjoy are games that are more like hybrid but have a lot of theme and story into the game. I love games with really strong mechanics that allow you to do like specific things and allow you to think things out. A lot of people were making fun of me during the top 100 by saying I said min-max too many times, but as far as like adjusting things and spinning the right resources and figuring out how to math everything out, I really enjoy that in a game, but I don't want that to be the only thing in a game. I want a game to also help me immerse me in the story and also have interactions with the other players, because I really enjoy games that make it so that way I'm playing the game with other people and the things that they're doing affect my gameplay as well. I don't like the multiplayer solitaire stuff as much. So my favorite kind of game is a game that's very hybrid, strong mechanics, tons of theme, and lots of interactions that allow the players to play off against each other, maybe stab someone in the back, maybe allow someone to take something over. So I end up going towards a lot of the area control style games where there's really good like crunchy parts to the mechanics to them, but then also allow you to mess up the other players and things like that, which is a lot of fun too. But yeah, let's see. Roy, what's up, my dude? Lots of awesome things. I had a great weekend. We played a whole bunch of games. I had Chris and Mike came to the studio, and I had my friend Ryan came into town. He's one of my old friends I used to play a ton of D&D with, and we actually played a bunch of board games, and we got to play a bunch of games just for fun, like bring back out a lot of games that we really enjoyed. So we've been playing a ton of really cool games during that, and we did a lot of fun things. Like Friday, we went to the Fish House down in the Keys as a team, and that was a lot of fun and delicious, and we've just been doing a lot of great things. I also went to the arcade yesterday, so that was really cool also. Let's see what else we got going on here. How is living in the Homestead area? So I actually like Homestead a lot. I think Homestead's pretty cool. I mean, it's just below Miami, so it's still actually pretty busy, and the traffic is kind of rough sometimes, but it's not Miami traffic. And it's close enough to like the beaches and things like that that there's a lot of fun things to do there. I do wish there were more game stores around in the area. We have cool stuff, but cool stuff is mostly like they do their warehousing and you have to order stuff in. For some reason, I just love going into a game store and being able to look at all the cool stuff, like, oh, there's the miniatures, oh, there's all the cool board games, oh, there's the D&D books. I really like a lot of that stuff. There's a lot of interesting like comic book stores and anime stuff in the area and stuff like that, but I really enjoy Homestead in general, and the weather's normally pretty nice, and key lime pie is easily accessible, so that's always a plus. But yeah, how was my weekend? I just mentioned that we played games all weekend, and it was actually a blast. We went out to some restaurants. Wendy, Chris's wife, told us that there was this good Japanese restaurant that she hadn't been to, but we all went and tried that out as well. So I had, what was it? Like Supreme Rainbow Roll Sushi or whatever, which is actually like rainbow roll, but it had like unagi inside of it, and it was amazing. Chris and Wendy got that as well, and I thought it was really good. I'm a huge fan of sushi. Oh my goodness. Roy, nice ink. What are they all? That would take a little while. I have like my arm done and my chest, and I have one on my hip and like some on my legs and things like that. I'm not going to go over all my tattoos, but they have a bunch of different stuff. And one of the stretch goals for our Kickstarter was that me and Mike and Tom would all get Dice Tower related tattoos. So we have to hold Tom to that. He keeps mentioning, oh yeah, we're going to do that. We've been kind of waiting for things to be more calm and less weird going out to a tattoo parlor during like the pandemic and stuff like that. But we're all vaccinated now, so that's looking like it's going to happen maybe at some point sometime soon, but we have to see how scared Tom is. I haven't gotten any tattoos in like a long time because, you know, house, family, mortgage, and all that stuff comes into play. I got most of this stuff when I was like playing in a band and a musician and all of that stuff when I didn't have as many responsibilities. But I am excited to maybe get some more ink from some awesome artists down here in Miami. There's a lot of really good tattoo artists down here. What is your favorite piece of equipment? Honestly, if we're just saying one piece of equipment, it's just my MacBook. You know, that's the main thing we use here in the studio, and we do so much stuff with it. There's a lot of peripherals and things like that. Like we have these little cam links that make it so that the HDMI from the different cameras can go into our computers. But there's so much stuff we do on our MacBooks, like all of our editing software is on there, all that stuff. Most of the rest of the stuff kind of like stays in place. We have like wireless things like that. I also have a Stream Deck that I think is really cool that I use that allows me to work with our streaming software. I can just press the button and program all the different scenes for things to pop up. I like that a lot too. We also have like a Blackmagic ATEM thing, which is really cool as well. It like brings 5 HDMIs. It brings 4 HDMIs into the computer and allows me to switch in between those. And the funny thing is the most like intensive thing that we do, or the most thing that uses like the most cameras overall, is trying to put everything together for the marble races we do. So it's so funny, like that silly video and that silly show has the most bells and whistles and the most inputs on cameras and the most different scenes that I'm switching around to is our marble races. So, but we do like to try to make them look good and try to get all the shots and the angles, and I really wish we could figure out a way to make slow-mo work for that, because it'd be awesome to have like an instant replay of marbles crossing the finish line when someone cuts another one off. Awesome. Alex says, am I too late or did I miss the party? No, the party doesn't start until Alex walks in. That's what I've heard. What is my current favorite hero in Marvel Champions, says Nathan. I've played a bunch of new ones recently. I played Star-Lord and Gamora and all that, but I still think Doctor Strange is my favorite. I really enjoy the evocation deck and figuring out how to like go through that really quickly, and I really enjoy his stuff a lot. I need to play Star-Lord more. I feel like Star-Lord is a lot of fun to play, but it's extremely risky to play. Star-Lord is one of the first decks that I've really like done deck building with in a long time. I like changed a bunch of stuff out in his deck and put a bunch of really cool cards that he could kind of cheat into play. If you don't know, Marvel Champions is this crazy Marvel card game where you can basically face off against different villains, and it's one of my favorite games. It's right here. But I really enjoy Marvel Champions, and I think I'm still going to stay with Doctor Strange for now, but we'll see as more and more come out. Did you switch editing softwares and you joined the Dice Tower, or was it the same when you were solo? So back when I was solo, I still had the Adobe Suite. So I had the Adobe Suite, so I mostly used Premiere Pro. And back when I used to edit Favorite Game Friday and Token Punch Lunch and any of the reviews I did beforehand, I used Premiere Pro. So when I switched over here, I started using Final Cut more. And Final Cut is actually a lot better because it like allows the project to kind of be saved the way it is. And you can move stuff around. I used to say that, oh man, Premiere Pro can do more things with more bells and whistles, and Final Cut is better for what we do for like quick stuff. But I've gotten so used to using Final Cut, I can basically do anything in Final Cut that I used to do with Premiere Pro at this point. I know how to use all the keyframes a lot better than I used to when I first started. I know how to use and put everything in the right places. So yeah, we use Final Cut now, and yeah, it makes it so much easier to create more videos that are similar as other videos. So like you can pop the new pieces in the right place. I like it a lot. Let's see. Board Games Co. Alex is in the house. I knew this question would happen at some point. Mark asks, Roy, are you developing a game? I thought I heard somewhere that you were. So I am. I designed a game, and it is being developed. Well, I've been like developing and playtesting it, and Gray Fox is also continuing to develop and playtest it. And that is actually going to be coming to Kickstarter later this year at some time. It is Last Light. It is a fast-paced space 4X game. The main shtick is that all of the turns are simultaneous. There's no real time at all, so you can think out your decisions, but all the turns are simultaneous, so everything is super fast, and it's based on like just a 1-star system, and the board actually rotates as the game goes along, so it kind of mimics a star system as they're going around. You're all different alien races trying to gather the last light in the universe from this last dying star that is there. The first player to 20 light wins, but yeah, I'm sure you'll see me talk more and more about that, and there probably end up being more questions about that sort of thing as we go along here. But yeah, it'll be coming to Kickstarter later this year. We are trying to make it look amazing and make sure that everything is in place for everybody, and you'll definitely hear about it as things get closer. Everybody agrees with me that Alex is the party. Alex says, the goal is to say min-max just the right amount of times, the exact right amount of times. That was one more time that I said it, so hopefully we don't go over the max amount of min-maxing. Oh goodness. James says, congratulations on the weight loss. What is your secret? It's kind of funny because when I started like trying to diet more and like walk around more and be more active, I didn't realize how many comments I was going to get on the internet. I was mostly just doing it for myself and for like trying to be healthy and things like that. This job is a lot of sitting at a desk and just editing things. So unless I was actively going out of my way to try to cut weight, it was definitely very much going the opposite direction. And I got a point to where I think I was up to like, oh goodness, like 245 or 240 or something like that, and it was the most I had really ever been. And I know this is crazy, and if my brother's watching, I know this is crazy, but I saw a picture of my brother and he was looking skinnier than me, and I'm like, what is this? What's going on? And I mean, I love my brother, but I was like, I need to do something. Like, this job is very much just sitting in one place and sitting down and playing board games. I need to be more active. So I just took it on myself to start walking a lot more and trying to like diet more. So I started doing like the keto thing where I basically cut carbs out of my diet. I was very much, I guess that's more like Atkins, but I started just doing more meat and then just less calories in general, but also like walking. Like every day I started walking and trying to exercise more. I mean, there's no secret. There's no secret to weight loss. It works the same for everybody. You eat less calories, then you burn off. That's the secret. I mean, it's not a secret. It's science, you know. But I just started being more active in trying to make that happen, and I worked pretty hard to get where I'm at. I didn't expect the amount of people saying, oh, it looks like Roy's dying, or he's about to, like, what's wrong with him? I hope he's okay. It's like, no, I'm extremely okay. Like, I'm working hard to make this happen. But I do appreciate the people that say nice things about it and are super, super good about it, and I'm sure we'll get to the point where nobody mentions it anymore because, you know, this is just the way Roy looks. And my watch is trying to talk to me as well. That's very strange. But yeah. Hey, Luke Pryor's in the chat. Hey everybody, how's it going, Luke? Nice. Let's see here. Oh, nice. James asks, what is your thoughts on the Thanos expansion for Marvel Champions? I saw this coming because a lot of this stuff was leaked. There was actually a point where it was just leaked in like text form. And they're like, this character, this character, this character. And this whole like Mad Titan, like big box expansion was coming. So it's like, oh, obviously this is going to be a Thanos expansion. And then the box cover ended up leaking. Like, Fantasy Flight can't catch a break with these leaks, but when I see them, I am always excited, whether they announce them on purpose or they get leaked out. I'm actually really excited. I am terrified about how difficult it's going to be, but I'm also really excited to see Spectrum, Photon, whatever. I know she was in WandaVision. I'm excited to see her and how her deck plays, and also excited to see Adam Warlock. We have an inside joke here in the studio about Marvel United and how Adam Warlock is like the exclusive pledge or the exclusive thing, and I didn't go all in on Marvel United, so I don't have the Adam Warlock figure. And Mike always rags me about, like, he always just brings it up and goes, listen, if you don't have Adam Warlock, it's not even worth playing. But now they're adding Adam Warlock to Marvel Champions, so I was like, oh, they're adding Adam Warlock. It's like, well, if it doesn't have Fing Fang Foom, it doesn't matter. Mike didn't know that Fing Fang Foom was even a thing, and he thought it was ridiculous. And I'm like, oh, it's this dragon from Fantastic Four. It's just so silly. Tom has Marvel knowledge like through the roof, and I have like a little bit of a passing Marvel knowledge, but the rest of the guys in the studio are just kind of like, oh, these are characters we know, like Avengers and X-Men a little bit, but it's funny to see us talk about all this different stuff. But I'm definitely excited about the Marvel League Champions Thanos expansion. I just like more content for the game, and I'm just going to continue to play it, and it's a game I can play solo. I taught my friend Ryan yesterday. He came into town, taught him how to play the game. I taught a guy from the game group how to play a couple... Was it on the weekend? I guess it was on the weekend a couple weekends ago. And I'm actually excited to start playing Marvel Champions like 2-player or maybe even more players a little bit more, just because I haven't had as much of an opportunity to do that. But the game gets so much longer the more people you add into it. So I really enjoy it solo and 2 players, but we'll see. I could always go down for like that big epic game with people that really know the game really well. Yeah. Here's another question about Last Light. When can we expect your game to hit Daylight or see Kickstarter? We're really shooting for this fall. We don't have a solid date. Whenever we do, I'm definitely going to make sure people know when that is. I'm going to be shouting out everywhere. I'm sure you will hopefully maybe see some stuff here. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll have to see if I can talk Tom into doing like a video or something on it. I would love to do like a preview thing here, but I don't know. We'll have to see. That's up in the air. Even if it has to come out of my own pocket, I'll be like, let's do a video. But yeah, in a few months, they're working on making sure all of the production stuff is in place. We've been working on that for a long time, and I'm really excited to start showing more stuff for this game, because it's gonna look pretty awesome, and it's gonna look different than a lot of games. Heather says, Violet wants you to know she's here. Hi, Violet. Hi, Scotty. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Oh, let's see here. I love your enthusiasm, and I always look forward to Favorite Game Friday videos. Thanks so much. That means a lot. Yeah, I always try to have fun with board gaming and just try to like bring out the positive things in gaming and just be excited about playing games with people and have other people get excited. Alex says, Roy is looking excellent. I need to not eat what he's not eating. This weekend was kind of like my birthday weekend or whatever, but I decided, okay, I'm going to be more lax on all that stuff. So we had Fish House, and I had key lime pie at the Fish House, which was delicious. We all had key lime pie. It was great. And then we had that sushi and stuff, but then I've been having snacks here at the studio, and then I went to this place called Mod Pizza yesterday, where you can actually, it's basically like Chipotle for pizza, where you take your pizza down the line and you tell them exactly what toppings you want on it, and they throw it in the oven, and they have a lot of cool sauces you can like dip the pizza in and stuff like that. Not super healthy, but it was amazing. So I'll have to go there again at some point and split a pizza. But I'm back on track now, and trying to continue to be a little bit more frugal with my calories, I guess. Is that a thing? Can you use the word frugal and calories at the same time? I don't know. Something like that. Did you dream of working at NASA when you were a kid? I don't know specifically about working at NASA. I definitely did like want to do science stuff. I got like a telescope when I was a kid, and I would like go around and like look at little things. It was a very like cheap little plastic telescope, but I'd always like zoom into different things. I was always very interested in science aspects of things and like learning how things worked. But yeah, NASA would be awesome. I know there's a ton of like up in Orlando like museums and things like that where you can go and visit, and I've never been to any of that stuff. It'd be really cool to see that, or go up there and see like a SpaceX launch. That would be really cool as well. I think Bonacor has gone up and done that stuff before. Maybe I should try to hitch a ride with him next time he does something like that. That would be awesome. Which arcade did you go to yesterday? Was it Arcade Odyssey? Yes, it was. I took my friend Ryan, who was in from out of town, up to Arcade Odyssey. I've taken my kids there a bunch of times, and it has been a blast. There is a arcade, I guess it's in Kendall is where it is. It's just a little bit north. It's like South Miami, a little bit north. I really enjoy this place. They have a ton of like Japanese games, but they also have a ton of like retro arcade games, and I've really had a blast. It's funny because I was saying Tina made a dice guy for me that had me playing an arcade game, and I've been to the arcade a few times here and there, and they had a few went up in North Carolina, but I wouldn't have said like I go to the arcade all the time. But since I found this Arcade Odyssey place, I've been going a bunch of times just because it's so much fun, and they have a bunch of games like that you can try out and play, and they have DDR and Guitar Hero, and I really enjoy playing some of the Japanese rhythm games and the drum games and things like that. They also have the like Fighting Mania Fist of the North Star game where you have to like punch all of these pads at the right time, and it's just fun going there, and I take the kids and it's a blast. So we have a lot of fun going there. So Arcade Odyssey, if you're ever in Miami, make sure to check that place out because it is awesome. What was the inspiration for starting Favorite Game Friday? Holy smokes, I've been doing Favorite Game Friday, I guess this October, because we started in October when we first started. It will be 6 years doing Favorite Game Friday. But it started on Instagram, and basically there was a ton of people on Instagram posting stuff back in the day, and I really wanted to create something that could have the community kind of come together, and something that was really easy for people to contribute to. So I wanted to make it as simple as possible for people to contribute to, and just easy for people to join in, and something that also had like a variety of voices. There's so many different tastes in board games, and there's so many different types of people that play board games, and it just really wanted to showcase that with a show, and something that was like not hard to do. We've had so many people come through that show and end up doing so many other things. We've had a bunch of people that started on Favorite Game Friday and are now breakfast contributors, or started on Favorite Game Friday just getting comfortable being in front of the camera, and now they have their own like YouTube channel and do a whole bunch of different stuff out in the board game community. And it's just really cool to see something that I started, but it wasn't just me who started it was the community that started it, and I just continued to push it and grow it and make it just even easier. Now, like, anybody who wants to can join in on a Favorite Game Friday. They just put something in the Google Drive that we have there, and I take all of those videos, edit them all together. It's just cool to see on different topics just a variety of people's tastes in games. It's just really fun. What is something from D&D that you would love to find in board games too? So one of the main reasons that I don't play D&D all the time is the fact that this campaign thing is a thing that you have to do, and you always have to get the same group back together. So I don't really like the campaign aspect of D&D. I wish it was a little bit easier to be more casual or have more one-shots. And so all of these campaign games, it's like, man, I wish that I didn't have to play this big long campaign, because it's so hard to get the same group of people back together. Like, if you miss a week and then you miss another week, like, your group falls apart, it feels like. So that's not it. I would love to see more like custom characters at the beginning of a game. Like, if you had a one-shot board game where you got to choose your stats and things were balanced out. based on those stats. Maybe you could have like a point buy system, or be able to choose certain things at the beginning of the game to set yourself up to be more customizable. I would love to see a game where it's like, okay, you can change the amount of movement you have at the beginning, or you can change the amount of strengths and weaknesses that your stats have in all of these different role-playing games, and bring that over into board games and have it be like a quick playing game where you start out with different stats. I've tried to mess around with making games that are kind of like that for a while, but you have to have the balance just right to make sure all of the different point buys for that at the beginning of the game are good. I would love to see something like that be super streamlined and simplified and added into a board game. Who makes the best meals? I think I got rid of my name here. Who makes the best meals at the Dice Tower house? Honestly, for the most part, we don't eat super well for the most part. I've been trying to cut calories, and so I mostly just eat dinners and things like that instead of eating meals here. Chris will bring in stuff that Wendy has made, so probably Chris. Mike eats very calorie frugal as well. Tom's trying to cut calories as well, and we mostly just kind of eat what we have, and then sometimes we'll get stuff from DoorDash or things like that. So we don't normally have super good meals here unless we're having like a guest come in. Then we order from Mamma Mia's Pizza or things like that, which is awesome. But yeah, we don't really cook that many meals here at the place. It would be awesome to like bring some stuff in to cook at some point, or have like a potluck or something. That would be awesome. Cool Stuff Games is in Kindle too. Yes, I've been to that Cool Stuff a ton of times. We used to do our game days there all the time. They don't have a ton of like game selection. I mean, they have some on the shelves. I'm used to places like Atomic Empire up in Raleigh, where it's just like walls and walls of games you can go look at. Cool Stuff is great, especially if you want to order something to be picked up at the store. So if you have a specific game, you can order it and pick it up there. And we used to do a bunch of gaming there. But yeah, I wonder if they're going to start kicking back up their Magic the Gathering stuff there. But majority of the time I just go in there and just say hi to the people, because all the people there are super friendly and I know most of them. But yeah. Let's see. What are you listening to on your AirPods? Nothing currently. I was listening to the intro when it started, and then I will listen to the outro when it's going out. But for some reason, it just seems weird to me, because I did so many of these daily chats with other people and podcasting. I was like, it's gonna feel awkward if I don't have something in here. But normally when I listen to my AirPods, I listen to like the Wonder Years station on Pandora or Spotify. I listen to a lot of like pop punk music and stuff when I walk and run, and I listen to some podcasts like board game stuff as I'm walking around the neighborhood exercising and things like that. Who has more tattoos, you or Mike? I mean, if Mike had more tattoos, he'd be very good at hiding them. But he has a few. Kenny has a few too. But hey, soon we may have more. Jordan says, "What's up, Roy? What's up, Jordan? How's it going, man?" Let's see here. Roy, is it true that Mike DeLucio doesn't actually solo game, but uses it as an excuse to have an underground ninja guild? I can neither confirm nor deny the fact that there is such a ninja guild, or what everyone's rank is in such a ninja guild. What anime have you been watching lately? Opinion, One Piece thus far, or Demon Slayer. I've been watching Demon Slayer a little bit. I'm trying to get through it. I think I'm like maybe halfway through. And my son has been watching all of the One Piece stuff, so I've been kind of watching it with him, but he also watches it without me. But I feel like it's kind of a show that you don't necessarily have to see all of. I'm not sure how much filler there is. I'm probably going to end up missing major plot points because he watches it very sporadically. Like, I'll just watch random episodes in between. But yeah, I've watched through like all of Naruto and all of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I've watched a bunch of different stuff, but I'm trying to watch and get more back into watching some stuff as I do other things. So like I'm folding laundry, watching anime and things like that. But yeah, there's a lot of good ones. If anybody has any suggestions, let me know. But yeah, currently watching through the Demon Slayer stuff. Oh, here we go. Steven asks, what are your thoughts on Return to Dark Tower? So I played Return to Dark Tower when it was very much in the prototype form and it was just like a script and like no tower or anything like that. I really enjoyed the play of it that we had the other day. I enjoyed how a lot of the stuff comes together and can kind of be comboed to have these interesting turns and all that stuff. I really enjoyed putting everything together and working together. It was so funny. At the beginning of the game, we were acting like we weren't trying to work together to do stuff, to kind of just like have this little rivalry thing going on. But by the end of it, we were like neck and neck, being like, okay, you go here, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna take this out. And the communication and working together was a lot of fun in the game. And I really enjoyed the way the app looked. I thought the art and stuff and that was really awesome. I'm really excited to see how the miniatures have come out. I know that Restoration has done a great job with their unmatched miniatures, and they did a really good job with the actual miniatures that there are for the heroes. So it'll be cool to see the miniatures for the monsters and things like that as well. And the tower is crazy the way it works and does all the stuff together. I'm hoping all that stuff comes together super good when it's all said and done. And yeah, we'll see how that happens. What's going on here? Let's see. What's a good thing? What is your favorite cooperative game? I think this is maybe hearkening back to when in the top 100, Mansions of Madness was my favorite cooperative game for so long. I was so used to saying, Mansions of Madness, it's my favorite cooperative game, forgetting that I made Marvel Champions my #1 game. But I play it solo mostly, but Marvel Champions is definitely my #1 favorite cooperative game. I love playing it, and but I play it a lot solo, mostly solo. But I really enjoy the cooperations in Mansions of Madness 2nd edition as well. I love uncovering the stories and going through the different puzzles. I really enjoy the puzzle aspect in the app and just trying to do all the different stuff. I really hope they release more app scenarios for that game, just because I don't really need more content. I have so many characters, I have so many monsters, but it seems like they could just continue to release apps like in-app purchases for that game to add more scenarios to it. And normally when they release those, I immediately buy them because I'm like, encourage them to make more, because I'm going to play them at some point because I really enjoy all of the Mansions of Madness 2nd edition stuff. But I am also really excited about Destinies, the new game from Lucky Duck. It gives me a lot of that Mansions of Madness feel, but it's competitive, not cooperative at all, and is very story driven and a lot of fun. Oh goodness, I didn't even see the super chat. Whoops, I actually clicked the wrong button. Super chat from Alexander. Hello Roy, I love the channel. I would like to ask how you got into the Dice Tower and what you were doing for work before you got here. Greetings from Finland. Awesome, thanks so much. Yeah, so I started with the Dice Tower. I started doing my own board game content. I had a podcast called Epic Gaming Night, and I started streaming some of our gameplay on Twitch back in the day, and I would run my podcast on Twitch. And then trying to grow all of that stuff, I started doing a lot of like board game social media stuff, trying to interact with the community as much as possible and making a lot of friends. And I always like loved the Dice Tower. I watched a ton of the reviews, and so I started like interacting and trying to like join in on stuff. I started doing Board Game Blender, which is a show that Z runs. Mark Streed helped me get on that show back in the day by basically being being like, hey, you should hit Z up and you should do all this stuff, and encouraged me to join into that because he knew I had the podcast and I was super into board games. So I hit Z up, joined in on that. I did Board Game Blender for a while, and then I started doing Sam's show also, which was Throat Punch Lunch at the time, got changed to Token Punch Lunch. I was doing both of those shows, and then I had actually talked to Tom about adding Favorite Game Friday to the Dice Tower. Showed it to him. He's like, oh, cool, we can do that. So I started doing Favorite Game Friday every Friday on the Dice Tower, and I used to just send that in, and the team would upload it, and then I started actually uploading it myself to the channel, and I started doing reviews as well. So I started reviewing stuff. I didn't do a ton of reviews, but I did reviews of some kids' games and some games I really liked, and tried to find holes that hadn't been reviewed by the other guys to do reviews, and so that was fun. And then things just kept evolving. I started working with the Dice Tower at conventions, like helping out at booths, just helping out however I could. And things evolved, and when a position opened up here at the Dice Tower as an editor, I'd actually talked to Tom several times before about doing more things and doing this thing and that thing, and hey, if there's ever an opportunity, let me know. And this opportunity opened up, and I ended up coming down, and it's been 2.5 years now that I've been with the Dice Tower doing stuff. Right when I came on, we switched over to start doing a lot more live stream stuff, so I've kind of been here along the whole time doing this live stream stuff, which ended up helping out that I did my podcast live on Twitch, and I did a little bit of gameplay on Twitch back in the day. I was more familiar with running like live stream software, and I was able to edit from doing my own reviews. I was able to edit Tom's reviews and things like that. And we do so much content here, but hopefully it is stuff for you guys to be excited about. Before I worked at the Dice Tower, I worked at Target for 10 years in retail. I did facilities management over there, which is basically where I was over making sure everything was working. I was over a crew that would clean everything up and also make sure to the entire facility was working. I worked with a lot of vendors too that would come in and making sure things were fixed, make sure the air conditioning's working, making sure this door isn't broken, making sure to all the light bulbs are up, you know, that sort of thing. And then I did a bunch of other retail work. I worked at like Walden Books, I worked at Kroger. Those were before Target. And then I also worked at a bunch of different places, but yeah, I mostly did a lot of retail work, but I did, on my hobby side, I did a lot of podcasting and social media and video editing personally to make my own board game content. So that's how I learned to do all of that stuff. Awesome. Dun, 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 dun. I feel like I'm super far behind. What is your top 5 4X games? So maybe I'll go from top to bottom just so that way it'll be easier for me. But I really enjoy Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea is a blast. We actually played that over the weekend, and I just love playing that game. I love the combat in the game. I love the resource management. I love the follow action. Fantasy 4X game, super fun. Twilight Imperium. Gigantic space 4X game. It is huge. I wish I had more time to play it. I'm sure most people that love Twilight Imperium 4 wish they had more time to play it. It's always epic, and you never forget any of the games you play in Twilight Imperium. I really love Eclipse. I love the economics of Eclipse and the way everything comes together and the way you build things up as time goes along. Eclipse is a lot of fun, and it's fun to like build all of that stuff up. I wonder if I have a full-on 5, because those are the first 3 that come to mind. What else would I consider strong 4X? I really need to play Rune Wars. I haven't played it, and I wish I could give more insight on that game. I know the guys here didn't like it as much, but that is another big, gigantic 4X game that's a lot of fun. 4X is a kind of interesting genre because it takes a lot of like resource management and like building up like an engine of like stuff and getting units out on the board. I think there's so many games that people say are 4X games that actually don't end up in the actual 4X category. It's like, well, go back and look at like Masters of Orion or Civilization and things like that, and that actually informs the type of 4X games you actually like. Let's see here. Oh goodness. Any favorite moments in Twilight Imperium 4 game? Do you think it is worth the purchase for a once-a-year game? Do you ask your recipients to learn the rules first? participants to learn the rules first, not precipitation. Okay. I've had so many amazing moments in Twilight Imperium. I'm gonna add in just Twilight Imperium in general, because I've played 3 a ton and I've played 4 a ton, and they are different, but they feel similar in a lot of ways, and you can get a lot of the same feel from each. 4 is just a little bit more streamlined version of 3. But yeah, I had a moment in 3 where it had this whole voting phase that felt a little bit different than 4, and I was actually way in the lead in this game. And there was a card called Public Execution that basically exhausts all of someone's planets, gets rid of a bunch of their ships, and basically just completely decimates a player. And in 3rd edition, the agenda phase could be at any point in the round. So somebody made the agenda phase happen first. It wasn't called the agenda phase, it was called something different. But we voted, and of course, everybody was mad at me because I was winning. They all like voted against me, and it ended up like exhausting everything and wrecking me. And then I was at that point like, guys, someone else needs to figure out how to win this game. It's not going to be me. And I almost still squeaked out a win after everybody was basically ganging up against me. And even though that's a terrible thing that happened to me and ruined the game, it didn't ruin the game for me. It ruined my game or my chances of winning. It's still so memorable and so crazy that that happened. And so many of the games have just been fun. Just those moments of like jumping on each other and like taking over areas, or like me and Mike the last time I played the game fighting back and forth for Mechatol Rex, and me being like, I could wipe you off the face of this galaxy, Mike. Stop getting points. I'm gonna do it. I feel bad this is your first game, but if you don't stop getting points, I'm gonna have to do it. But things like that are just a lot of fun. And then fighting back and forth with Bonacor, and Bonacor trying to jump on me and me able to take out his stuff. Just a lot of cool memories and playing with people back throughout the years. There's so many interesting things. I do normally send the rules video from Shay. He did a video on his channel. What is it? RTFM is his channel. He does a rules video about how to play Twilight Imperium 4. It's very concise. I will send them that video. Whether they watch it or not, that's up to them. But then I then teach the rules, and I'm pretty proficient at teaching rules for a lot of the games. I'm pretty sure I ended up doing most of the teach when I taught Bonacor how to play 4th because he never played 4th edition, and when we taught Mike how to play 4th. Tom had played 4th, but it had also been a while, so I was kind of teaching Tom how to play it as well. So going back through all of that stuff. Do I think it's worth the purchase for a game that's only once a year? Honestly, there are so many people that own Twilight Imperium 4. I think you're probably better off trying to find a friend that owns it and playing their copy of it, mostly because they probably really want to play it anyway. So if you have a friend with it, encourage them to get it. I'm kind of creating a game to solve this sort of solution to play a game more than once a year, so I don't want to go too far into that. But yeah, that is one of the problems with Twilight Imperium, is it's really, really hard to get to the table, and it takes up your entire day. How do you speed up the Marvel Champions setup? For me, I have most of my decks pre-built. And then I have several villains that are set up where they're in sleeves with the standard cards already in there and the sets of stuff already in there. So I don't really do deck building on the fly. I have all of the decks built at the same time. So I set out the box, I say, which character you want to play? If it's somebody's first time, I make them play against Rhino. I have a Rhino deck that's just always ready to go. So it's like, cool, pick your character. Cool, there's Rhino, we're playing against Rhino. From there, if we want to play somebody else, I have another set of standard cards. I'm like, okay, if we play against another villain, like last time we played against the Green Goblin, which I didn't have to take out the standard stuff for. Green Goblin I also have ready to go. I have it in sleeves. I have an extra set of standard cards printed in front of other cards, so that way the Green Goblin deck I can just put on the table and play. The Green Goblin mutagen formula. The bad guys that I actually really like, I print out a set of the standard cards and sleeve them, so that way I don't have to switch them in between decks. But I keep fleshing at the guys who make Marvel Champions, being like, make more like full art versions of the standard villain cards, because it would be awesome to not have to switch them out in between decks. But the setup's really not that bad for Marvel Champions at all, especially if you're not doing deck building at the beginning of the game. If you have the decks already built, you can just throw it on the table and play. I'm sure, wow, I'm like halfway through any of the questions. Let me see if I'm going to start trying to just find the good ones. How do you come up with favorite game Friday topics each week? I'm pretty lazy when it comes to this. I've been doing it for like 6 years almost at this point. Not 6 years. I guess 5.5 years at this point. Normally, Friday, it's time to record Favorite Game Friday. Before I record it, I think, wow, what's a subject I can use for next week? And I come up with something, and it normally ends up being based around something that I've seen recently, or a game I've played recently, or like if we did something that felt very like thematic centric, I'll try to switch back and then go to something that feels very more like mechanic centric. So it's like, I want to make sure the thematic game players are able to talk about their favorite game. I want to make sure the like Euro game players are allowed to talk about their favorite thing. And then sometimes I try to mix it up like small game, big game, epic. Like I've gone over almost the entire gambit, so it's really hard to think of something that I haven't already done. And it's really weird because sometimes it ends up like corresponding with top 10 lists that have recently been done, or I'll do a favorite game Friday and then it turns into a top 10 list like just like a week later. So it's interesting how all of that stuff ends up working together. But yeah, on the fly, that's how I come up with it. Let's see. What would be a good thing here? What game do you and Chris most disagree on? Same question with Mike. I don't know. I mean, we honestly don't go out of our way to fuss about games. We just normally are more like, that's your type of game, that's your type of game, and we try to meet each other on the games that we like overlap with. I mostly picked out the games that we played this weekend, but the guys had a blast playing them because they were games that I knew that everybody would enjoy and everybody would like. And a lot of the games that we play, everybody does like, because if it's a really good game, most of the time, everybody recognizes that it's a really good game. I think Chris leans a lot more to like heavier Lacerda or Euro games, and honestly I would like an opportunity to try to play on Mars and things like that. I don't know if it would be something that I would end up super enjoying or it'd be the top of my list, but I feel like that's a whole of games that I haven't played and I need an opportunity to play it. And you know, Chris is probably listening to this, maybe we'll get to play a Lacerda someday. And Mike likes a lot of the like really tight, like smaller, like resource management games. And I normally don't have too much of an issue with that sort of stuff, but we have a lot of overlap of games we like as well. It's normally just varying degrees of who likes what. I like a lot of the stuff that's extremely thematic and more in your face, like punch each other. I think I probably have a lot of games that they probably don't like more as well, just because I like a lot of games that are like head-to-head confrontation. This is basically a miniatures game board game. We're gonna go punch each other in the face. I enjoy that stuff too, and they might not enjoy it as much. But yeah, I do wonder what game we would most disagree on. A lot of times we end up agreeing, which is interesting. In your opinion, what makes a board game timeless? I guess honestly, having a massive amount of replay value. Like I would consider a game like Cosmic Encounter timeless, mostly because that game came out before I was born and I still want to play that game. You know, something like that can just, it really involves the players. It's really more about the players itself than just the mechanics. Because if you do the same mechanics over and over, or you play the same mechanisms over and over, it might get tired and you're like, okay, I've played that game and I'm done with it. But when you're playing a game where you're really playing more with the interaction in between the actual other players, it's always a new game depending on who you're playing with, you know? And I love games where you get to not only play the game with people, but you also get to like learn a little bit about the person you're playing with, or maybe just have those memorable moments and connect with someone else that you're playing with. So I would say that Cosmic Encounter is my favorite cooperative game. There we go. David asks, is Last Light a Euro game? So this is a whole meme that actually kind of got started because my friend Emerson, who is also, I guess, the designer Emerson, designer of Century. Me and Emerson have talked back and forth. He's been on my podcast a ton of times back in the day. But we were playing one of his prototypes, and the first player rule set was you're the first player if you're the last person to have played a Euro game. I'm like, what kind of first rule is that? That's crazy. And I had just gotten done pitching my game to a publisher. And he's like, well, I think your game is a Euro game, so therefore you have to go first. And I'm like, come on, there's no way, there's combat, there's all of this. And then he just went step by step through saying there's action selection like this game and this game. There's tight mechanics like other Euro games. There's resource management like other Euro games. And he basically won the whole table over into saying that my game is a Euro game. Granted, my game is a hybrid game where there's Euro mechanics, 4X mechanics, where you're gathering resources, building up stuff, building up technologies and things like that, which can be very Euro focused, but it also has trying to take out opponents. But the point is mute, I guess, because you don't have to fight someone to win the game. So, you know, I guess maybe it's a Euro game. I don't know. These titles don't even mean anything to me. Let's see here. Vanessa says, you mentioned you were in a band. What type of music did you play? So it was mostly like post-hardcore stuff. I know it's so hilarious because we just had a board game breakfast where Tom had a thing saying that screamo music is the most annoying music, which I'm just like, oh, I used to be in a band that I was the lead singer, aka the lead screamer in a band. You know, I understand that kind of music is mostly not for everybody, but I really enjoyed like playing shows and being involved in like that community and like trying to build up a band and stuff like that. But there comes a point where you're like, okay, I have to like do other things. But yeah, I played bass in a band, I've done vocals in a band, and I've played a bunch of different times. It was a lot of fun. I've also done like praise and worship music at my old church, and one of the first bands, God's Offspring, that I was in was a praise and worship band, but we started leaning more into the screamo alternative rock sort of stuff, hardcore sort of stuff. But we used to play a ton of shows back in North Carolina. It was always super local stuff at like bars and churches and things like that, which is kind of interesting. I would be in the same band and play at a church and then also play at a bar, you know. So it was fun. We had a lot of fun with it, and those were good times. Ron says, yay for Marvel Champions. Ron, we have to play Marvel Champions when you come to the retreat up in Orlando. I'm so excited. Hopefully it'll be a blast. Also, if anybody hasn't checked it out, we're selling tickets for the retreat and things like that. Make sure to check out our retreat Facebook groups. I know those things are probably almost completely sold out, but you might be able to find some more tickets. I know Sharon's been working super hard on getting all that stuff together, and I'm super excited to finally be doing that sort of stuff again, because the retreat is amazing. It's amazing. One of the best things you can do in gaming, I think. Nice. You look great. Cutting carbs is so good. I've lost 7 kilos, 15 pounds this year by cutting carbs. Yeah, it's kind of interesting because I think for me, the cutting carbs thing was more about like carbs just make me feel really, really hungry. So it made it easier to do the rest of the stuff when I ended up taking out the carbs. I mean, I've added that stuff back in at this point a little bit, but I'm just trying to be more frugal with everything. But I can definitely tell when I'm like not in... I did all the research and like stuff behind it, but when you're not in ketosis, like aka when your body's not burning fat for energy, then you end up like having to have a lot more carbs and a lot more like glucose to try to burn all that stuff off. And I just said a bunch of fitness words that probably nobody cares about. But yeah, you're right. Cutting carbs, make it happen. Uh-oh. I'm going to have to time Alex out for this one. Got you covered on Last Light. Played it. Solid game. Yeah, it was a lot of fun playing. I played with Alex and Quackalope and Shay from RTFM, and that was a fun game, and I'm really excited to finally someday be able to play this game with people, like a real copy of the game, because playing on Tabletop Simulator is one thing, playing like a janky prototype version of the game is one thing, but when it's all said and done and it looks the way that we're going to have it look, I am ecstatic about how everything's going to come together, and we'll see. Let's see. Oh wow, there's a bunch of people saying all sorts of things. What's a good question here? Roy, can you tell us the main mechanism in your game, or are you keeping that on the queue until later? I actually have a video on this channel where me and Crystal and Ambi and my friend Catch all came together and we played on Tabletop Simulator. So if you search Last Light board game, you can find a Tabletop Simulator playthrough of the game, which will show off a lot of how the mechanisms work. I would say the main mechanism is simultaneous play through these card actions. So you have a hand of cards and you're going to be playing them down, one down, face down, and flipping them over. And like a lot of other games like that, you're going to be doing that. But in this game, you take that action at the same time. So it makes the length of the game drastically shorter because it is always your turn and you're never not doing your turn. There's a lot of games that kind of do that and then kind of like have you go through the steps of a turn. This one, you're picking different things from the other players and you're doing that different thing, and it's engineered from the ground up to make it so that all that stuff can kind of work together at the same time. There are some like timing things that you have to be cognizant of during movement and combats, but there's a first player marker that helps you determine all of that stuff, and it makes it so everything is quick. The entire thing is meaningful decisions, quick gameplay. That's what it's all supposed to be about, and yeah. When can we get a live play of Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea? So we actually did that an extremely long time ago. I played with me, my co-host of my old podcast, Rob, Sam, and Robert Geislinger all played during a 24-hour marathon a while back. So if you search Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea live play, you can see us play that game. I don't know, I mean, unless they come out with more new content for it and things like that, we're normally covering new things. I don't know that we're going to get a live play of Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, but I definitely love that game. It's a lot of fun. Who are you playing with in Marvel Champions lately? I played a bunch of Star-Lord, and yesterday I played Gamora because I want to get some more plays in with her. Gamora is awesome. Like, I really love the way that she can just do both things. She can take care of damage. She can take care of threat. She's not necessarily the type of character that I like to play the most because I really enjoy the characters where you build up a gigantic board state with a lot of like supports and upgrades and things like that, and allies. I love being able to do all of that stuff and have all those things out there, but she's super solid. I think she'd be great for like a first-time player to be like, here's Gamora, you play events, that's what you do, and you're very proficient in it. Let's see here. What would be a good question? Here we go. In 2 hours, we're going to play Dune Imperium for the third time. Dune Imperium. Dune Imperium was my favorite game of last year. I really enjoyed Dune Imperium, and I'm really excited to see like the upgraded bits come out for the game. I think they're coming at some point, but I'm really stoked to see those as well. Tom just got in some cool upgraded water and spice like tokens that he's putting in the library as well. That's one of the things we do here with the Dice Tower library is we make sure to upgrade all of the different stuff. Dune Imperium is an awesome game. It's a lot of fun, super tight. Things are starting to Oh, awesome. And then Mark here is saying, I can't wait for the upgrade kit. Me as well. Like as soon as they put out the pre-order, like the first day, I got the game and the upgrade kit. And I got the game like forever ago. So I'm super excited about the upgrade kit to finally come in. So how many people have asked about Last Light today? One more, I guess, now. But yeah, I'm always kind of cagey about answering a bunch of questions because I don't want this to be a shill thing where I just talk about my own thing the whole time. But if people are going to ask the questions, I will do whatever people want. Let's see here. I worked at Target 2 for about 5 years. Condolences. I'm sorry. No, it's fine. Target's okay. Oh, wow. What solo board game has the best table presence? This is very much a Mike DeLisio question. There's a lot of the big solo games that you can play that have great table presence. I wouldn't recommend playing Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. Even though it has amazing table presence, I don't think the solo's super strong in that game. Dwellings of Eldervale has really good table presence, and I know that Mike has said that the solo for that is excellent. I haven't had a chance to play it. I wanted to play it over the weekend, so Mike, we're going to have to make sure that Dwellings of Eldervale hits the table again soon, because I really want to play that again. But I've heard that that is great for that. I'm glad to see Roy get some time to shine solo. I hope I see this continue. I used to do these Q&As a bunch, and we used to have those daily chats all the time. Everybody would always make fun of me because this was in the middle of quarantine. I was always doing them from my closet because I had the family there. I'm trying to be a little bit less noisy. But yeah, I really enjoy doing stuff. I'm always here. So if you don't see me in a video for a while, I'm still here. I'm always right over there running the live stream behind the scenes. I'm always editing videos up just like everybody else. But I do have to make sure everything is running smoothly and things are looking great for you guys. It's always so funny. I always come into chat like in the middle of crowd surfing or in the middle of something. We're like, oh, Roy's here. And I'm just like, who do you think's running this? It's always so funny. Uh-oh, Roy is unleashing the beast. I'm not exactly sure what I did. I'm sure that was a comment from way long ago. Post-hardcore is awesome. I agree. Let's do it. I still listen to a lot of that music, and it's fun. How is the Tabletop Simulator mod coming along? Tabletop Simulator is interesting. I know the guys here, Tabletop Simulator is definitely not the preferred way to play board games. But if you are a designer or a developer, or you're trying to play test games, I feel like it's great because it allows you to have an opportunity to play a game with people that you would not normally be able to play with. Also, normally, if a card is bad in your game or there's a typo on it or you need to adjust a value on it, you have to either like use a pen and like rewrite it or like print something out again and cut it out and sleeve it again so you can need it. If you're playing on Tabletop Simulator, you can immediately make adjustments on the fly. You can go into Photoshop and edit something up. My Tabletop Simulator mod for my prototype version of my game has been, I've had it for a while. It's not released to the public or anything like that. But we are trying to work on upgrading everything. That's what we're currently doing to make sure everything looks more like what the final game is going to look like. But if you're a designer or you're designing or have a dreams of designing, think about messing around with Tabletop Simulator because you can add that stuff in and it's pretty easy to put things on Tabletop Simulator so that you can mess around with it and make it look the way you want and hopefully get some people from different places in the world to try out your game. I mean, it gives you the opportunity to play with, I had a game of Last Light where I was playing with one person from China, one person was in Sweden, one person was in Nebraska, I was in Florida. Like we're playing these games with people from all over the world in completely different time zones. And those are things like you wouldn't have the opportunity to do if things like Tabletop Simulator or Tabletopia or any of these other things didn't exist. And it was really cool. There was a game group from Essen that were like, we'd really like to play your game. So I played with an entire group of people from Germany that got a chance to play. And then now there's this seeds of people that have demoed a game now in Germany that hadn't had a chance to play the game before. And I've tried to do a bunch of that stuff to help spread the word, and it gives you a lot of opportunities. Where were you from in NC? The Winston-Salem, Greensboro, like Triad area. So yeah, kind of there. I worked at Target in High Point. And I would sometimes go to like Raleigh, Durham to like visit the game stores and things like that out there. Let's see. Come on, Christian. Christian is going to be doing the art direction for my game, and I'm super excited about that. He's worked on a lot of other awesome games like Dwellings of Elder Vale, and he works with Breaking Games. Christian is an awesome dude, and he's quick and smart on being able to do some of that stuff together, so I'm really excited to see how everything comes together. There you go, Christian. There's your shout out. Boom. Oh, wait. We're like 5 minutes over. I have videos to edit and things to do here at the Dice Tower. There's going to be lots of amazing stuff coming out this week. Tomorrow, Z's going to be doing a Q&A as well for everybody. You can come back and talk to him and ask him tons of different questions. There were tons of questions I didn't get to here, but thanks everybody for stopping by, asking some questions. It's been a lot of fun, and it is always fun doing stuff and being a part of the board game community here. At the Dice Tower, we have such an amazing community, and it's awesome to see everybody joining in chat. If you don't know, like, there's a lot of people that use our live streams as basically like a way to chat to each other in between things. So always feel free to stop by and chat with people and say hi to each other throughout the day. Sometimes I pop in there and say, hey guys, what's going on? And there's always just people already in our chats right before the next live stream. Anyway, it's been awesome being here. Thanks for watching our content. Make sure to check out all the upcoming stuff. You're the best. Have a great week, and let's get back to it. See you next time.